Hey guys, it's Nat and I thought today I would start another reading vlog. I'm so excited for this one because it feels like I've been in a reading slump, especially when it comes to like any type of romance. So yeah, I've literally I think DNF'd the 2 romances. And the last romance I finished, I think I only gave like 3 stars. I don't know what's happening. Like all these books, I get like 50% into them, maybe even 25%, and I'm like just not feeling the characters or the story or the chemistry or like how their relationship is progressing. So I decided to pick up one of my most anticipated books again, and it is Behind Five Willows by June He. I'm a very big fan of June He, the Red Palace book and A Crane Among Wolves. I own both of those books, but I don't have A Crane Among Wolves with me because I only had space in my luggage when I moved to Korea for the Red Palace. I will probably bring A Crane Among Wolves over one day. She recently, I think in May, I think it was May 26th, May 27th, released Behind Five Willows. And yeah, it just says some rules need to be broken. And she is a New York Times bestselling author. If you haven't heard of June He, she basically writes stories set in Korea, especially in the past, like Joseon Dynasty. Yeah, I think this one's around 1786, 87. Yeah, most of her books are set in that period. So we love it. Reads like a historical K-drama, which I flippin' love. I need to get back into K-dramas because I haven't been really watching them, or if I do watch them, I don't watch the romance ones. I watch the crime ones. But yeah, let me read you the blurb for this book because the blurb summarizes the essence of this book really well. So, as the dutiful second daughter of a poor family, Hae-won is expected to marry well. Instead, amid harsh censorship and rampant book bans, she secretly works as an illegal book transcriber, dangerous work she loves, especially when copying the writings of her favorite author, the elusive Black Lotus. When her older sister begins courting a wealthy young man, Hae-won is dragged along as chaperone and forced to endure the company of his arrogant, insufferable best friend. As the only son of a noble, Soo-jeon is expected to embody wealth, status, and propriety. No one can know that he secretly writes fiction, or that the only thing keeping him going under pressure from his overbearing father are the warm, insightful letters from his transcriber, Magpie. But when his best friend falls for a girl far below their social rank, Seo-jun must join their chaperoned outings alongside her sharp-tongued younger sister. Yet the more time Seo-jun and Hae-won spend together, the more they realize how wrong their first impressions were. So June He said this is perfect for fans of Pride and Prejudice, and if you just listen to the blurb, you can tell Seo-jun is arrogant and insufferable. That is Mr. Darcy. And then Hae-won is described as sharp-tongued younger sister. That's Lizzie. I actually started reading this book. I only read 12 pages, the first chapter, but I'm already enjoying it so much. I think I tabbed 6 sections in this book because if you start a book with the quote, "The person, be it a gentleman or a lady, who has not pleasure in a good novel must be intolerably stupid." This is also a love letter to readers, and you can already tell straight away Hae-won does her job of transcribing because she loves books. They already talked about the ban coming into place. This is the second time the ban is being placed, but they think it's going to be more harsh this time around. So yeah, they were talking about that. But the owner of this secret bookshop, she's friends with Hae-won, and she said something. What will remain the same is the people's love for novels. Readers cannot be stopped. And I loved why Hae-won said she reads. She was a page turned and all fears and anxieties fell away. Her mind became sheer mountains and cliffs and raging sea. I love that. And then she said she loves being a transcriber, even though her posture is gonna get worse and it will ruin her eyes. She's it's not hard work for me. It feels rather like I'm carving a corner in my life, a small place where I am a mistress over my own fate, because we found out that she's supposed to marry. And then here, the older girl who claimed the freedom of a married woman without being married herself had declared more than once for Hae-won that she intended to devote herself to her first and only love, books. Because her friend Wall, her mother got married to a rich guy, guys, so now she doesn't really need to worry about money and securing a place. And then they were talking about Black Lotus not writing the 10th and last volume in the story, so people were like complaining. Mistress Wall said, but will the readers wait for her? I could wait. I could wait 2, 3 years, even a decade. Wall laughed. You would wait a decade? I am a most devoted reader. And sometimes I feel like that with books. Well, I've read Game of Thrones. I read the books like ages ago. If George R. R. Martin finally released the next book, I would read it. And I'm also waiting to read whatever Sarah J. Maas is putting out for her A Court of Thorns and Roses series. So readers will wait. And apparently, like, people have been writing to Black Lotus, but no one's received a response except Haewon, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to read more of this. So I can't wait. I'll probably update you when I'm like halfway through the novel, but if something really big happens, I might update you sooner, because I haven't felt like this much excitement about a book in a little while now, and I think this is gonna end in a positive note, not like my last reading vlog for The Caretaker. So yeah, I'm excited. So guys, it is time for an update. I'm pretty much nearly halfway into Behind Five Willows. I'm like page 137, chapter 18, which is, I think, like 45%, and oh my god guys, I'm loving this book. Look at how many tabs I have. I've been tabbing like crazy because this one is a little bit more fast-paced when it comes to the romance, if I'm like comparing it to Pride and Prejudice. Like, don't worry, this isn't completely the same as Pride and Prejudice. It takes like inspiration from Pride and Prejudice, because Haewon only has like 2 other sisters. Her oldest sister, who has a Korean name, but she prefers being called Jade. Jade. Okay, so that's very similar. But this book is so fun. I'm like always giddy when I pick it up, because already Sojun is like intrigued by Haewon. I don't want to say too much, but he figures out pretty quickly, which makes sense. He's a smart guy. He figures out pretty quickly that Haewon is Magpie, and he's like so intrigued by her, he can't stop staring at her. And she's like, why is he staring at me? Why is my heart like fluttering when I'm near him? Please stop. I really don't like this arrogant man. But there's just this pull, and they keep spending time together because Jade is really into Sojun's best friend, young master Byung-ho. Byung-ho is quite cool. I think him and Jade suit so well. But yeah, Sojun was quite sweet actually, because Haewon is really desperate for her sister to secure a love match because she only has less than a month. Basically what is happening, like with this book ban as well, the king wants unmarried people, I think women over 24 that aren't married, and then for men it's like over 28 if I remember correctly. If she doesn't get married within the month, either her mom is gonna set her up with the village bully. And I was like, really? So you turned down all these good men and you want her to marry the village bully that's poor? So far so good. Okay guys, it is finally time to do my final update for Behind Five Willows by Junha. I did finish this book last night, and my goodness guys, 5 out of 5. I really recommend you pick this up. It is a YA, so there's not really any spice, but I will say something. Junha gave us something that I don't want to say missing, because the story in Pride and Prejudice worked really well without any skinship or any kissing, but in this one we got something, a little bit of spice. Not too spicy because it's YA, but had more than just touching hands. It was so cute. So yeah, as I said, this is for me 5 out of 5 stars. This was as good as the Red Palace. The Red Palace had mystery in the plot, and this one didn't really have mystery, but it still had a very fast-paced plot. So I think why I loved it so much is because it's way more romance heavy than any of Junha's other books. I tabbed the hell out of this book. I think the way Haewon and Sojun grew as characters, like the things that they went through at the end of the book, because we did have something come upon Haewon's family, kind of like the Bennett's family with Lydia. Here, Haewon's younger sister Yoon-hee got into some problematic things, so Sojun did help out a little bit with that. I don't know, I just really liked it. I love the ending too, and I don't know what else to say. I just really highly recommend this book. It has the romance, it's very fast-paced, there's like multiple plots happening, so you have like the book ban coming into fruition and it being way more intense than the previous time, I think, that there was a book ban. At one point we see the Five Willows bookshop being ransacked, so we have that plot. Then we have Yeonhee. I don't want to say too much, but something happens with her. She's the younger sister. Then we also have Jade and her suitor like falling in love a little bit, and I don't know, just a lot happened. And I love that Magpie and Black Lotus, like both Haewon and Sojun had the secret identities. I think it added way more, and it made the story believable when they do actually finally fall for each other, because they've already fallen for each other through letters. So later, once everything finally clicks and it all makes sense, they're like, oh, I actually like this person, so maybe I do see a future with them. I don't know, this book made me just feel so giddy, and I don't want to say too much because I feel like all you need to know is it's inspired by Pride and Prejudice, set in Joseon Dynasty, when there's a book ban happening. It's between arrogant, prideful man that has a secret identity, like he is the father of a minister, so they hold a lot of power. He lives in a huge like house, and yeah, he has a secret identity. He's a writer, no one knows it's him apart from, I think he said, his sister, and then that's it, I think. Yeah, just the sister. Oh, and his best friend also knew. And then we have Magpie, who's the transcriber. She's like Lizzie, and she's a bit prideful too. Oh my god, I loved how she was like, ugh, Sojun, the prideful, no, she kept saying the perfect gentleman, and I was like, that is such a dig. I love it. But yeah, she has a family that sometimes do questionable things that could ruin their reputation, but she still loves them. And what I loved as well is Haewon and Sojun like grow, like they learn from each other, so that helps them grow as people. And I think that's the beauty of a relationship. Like if you find that person, and when you're like growing and changing a little as a person, because that's what happens when you grow up or when you experience new life experiences, you want to change and grow together instead of apart. So yeah, highly recommend. If you pick this book up and you haven't read The Red Palace, pick up The Red Palace too by Junha. Those are my two favorite books. And then I also recommend A Crane Among Wolves. But thank you, Junha, for writing this amazing book. It was worth the wait. I'm saying that like we waited a long time. I think it's been a year between the releases, so I'm just very impatient sometimes, and I'm like, this was worth the wait. So highly recommend. Let me know any YA books that are similar, like they are historical, they have a little bit of romance, maybe inspired by Pride and Prejudice, that you recommend. If it's not YA, still recommend me any books that give you like similar Pride and Prejudice vibes. I might actually do a book recommendation based on Pride and Prejudice, but I need to figure out if I've read enough books that remind me of Pride and Prejudice. Thanks for watching, guys. If you did, it means a lot to me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.